Hi guys, and welcome back to another Shaun the Buffalo video. Hope you've all been well. Today we are covering the Shady Dealings ShadyZard deck that became very good at Worlds, or showed a great deal of strength. And I played this deck, as you might have seen, with my deck profile that I recently uploaded to a 4-0 undefeated finish at locals, and it did extremely well in Worlds. And part of the reason is because it is a one prize card deck. Now, since it coming out, obviously a lot of people have cottoned on to its strengths and weaknesses and designed the decks in a way that would help counter this deck, hence why, it didn't win Worlds or, make top 8 or whatever the case may be. Now, I myself went and identified the weaknesses of this deck and thought, well, maybe you can reduce consistency in some ways without damaging the deck too much and giving yourself potential outs to being able to win these matchups and have a much better time against them. So the first and foremost thing is that although I reduced consistency, I did add a single copy of Battle VIP Pass. Now, going second with the high counter Viridor in the deck means that you get your board properly set up, so you get your basics in play, which is like the games that you lose with this deck, or the struggle, is when you're not finding your engine pieces quick enough. Now, having the one Battle VIP Pass basically turns Irida into a Bridget of sorts and gives it additional utility, which is really, it's insane for the deck. It's really good. And I've also chosen to go with one version of Capacious Bucket as opposed to just 3 straight up energy searches, because if you don't prize any water energies and this is your search from your turn 1 or turn 2 Irida, whatever the case may be, it becomes a +1, which helps so much in regards to the discards. Obviously the quick balls are your only discard in this deck, which I run 4 of, as opposed to the list that did so well that only run 3. But again, that's my decision to reach into finding Mew and Snorlax a lot sooner, with the addition of scoop up nets to get into them while still being able to maintain an energy attachment on your Sobble. Now, the reason I do this is because the way that I play this deck is I force my opponent to take the prizes, because one of the counters of this deck is they don't technically have to ever take a prize, and then how would I be able to ever attack with Radiant Charizard? So my idea behind this deck is I basically just come straight out the gates with the Rare Candy, which I play 2 of, into Aqua Bullet, and if I've attacked first turn or if my opponent's taken a knockout, then I've also got access to the right hand as well, which essentially means I can be Aqua Bullet in turn 2, which is insane. It also means that search, with all things going well and my opponent not having a Thunderous Awakening Jolteon on board, for example, it means that I can get double cross switcher to take out my opponent's Manaphy, for example. That in turn then allows me to, down the road, spread a bit more damage with future Aqua Bullets, which you should be able to pull off 2, at least maybe even 3 a game of Aqua Bullet. The 20 that it hits on the bench is essential damage for Charizard, because 250 isn't quite enough to knock out the V-Stars, certainly not a V-Max. And the additional damage that you can push through with Aqua Bullet is such a big deal that it just complements Charizard so well, and I just thought, well, why not make the deck more of an aggressive Aqua Bullet early game, and then go into Charizard, not just like a fall behind deck as it were, but making it sort of like an aggro build as such. And obviously that's where the Capacious Bucket comes in, because it allows me to dump a water into the discard with an additional quick ball that I run, and then the water's already there. And then with my attachment as well, I'm also playing 6 energy as opposed to the other, the Worlds list that was only running 5. Now, the one that's running 5 just doesn't run Capture Energy, but I like Capture Energy so much because, again, it's just consistency for setting up your board so quick, and just having a stable board state going into the game is the most important thing to managing this deck, I feel. I'm also sure that the winning the list that did so well run 2 Ordinary Rod. I feel like 1's enough with the Clara, because obviously between Ordinary Rod and Clara, there's just multiple ways to keep getting into Aqua Bullet in. And then obviously turn 3, you go in with, oh well, you can do it when your opponent goes down to 4 prizes. you can right hand onto a Raging Charizard and just attach the Twin Energy and still have damage. So there's that, and obviously the Shady Dealings line can search the choice belts. The only thing that Shady Dealings can't search is energy, and that's why obviously you run energy searches and things just so you have that consistency. The problem with Irida is that Irida itself doesn't run stadiums, doesn't allow you to add a stadium, sorry. Now obviously it can add your Drizzile, which can add your stadium, but that's why I've cut down to 3 Iridas. I think 4's a bit overkill, and I don't think I've ever played 4 in any time that I've ever played this deck. I've practiced a lot on PCGO with it and such. So going into identifying my weaknesses of this deck, the 2 weaknesses of this deck is Thunderous Awakening Jolteon, which we do run a single copy of Tool Scrapper for, which can be searched by the Iridas, which is, you know, perfect, and 3 is an optimal count basically. And the other thing that gives this deck a lot of trouble is Empoleon V, which also shuts off Snorlax, Mew, Manaphy, and the entire Shady Dealings line. So rather than running 3 Magma Basins, I'm running the 1 Path to the Peak for that reason. So this is my deck list. I'm still refining it. I'm still in the process of refining it. There's things that I want in the deck that I don't necessarily have space for. Like I would potentially go back down to 3 Quick Ball and maybe even run a second Tool Scrapper with how popular the Jolteon line seems to be. But at the moment, this is where I'm at. With PCGO being a best of 1, this seems fully functioning fine to me. So we'll get straight into some gameplay and see how it goes. So, let's see if we can avoid other single prize card decks, because decks like, well, other Inteleon that are like, you know, very Turbo-esque Inteleon that jump out the gates with Aqua Bullet themselves can pose a great problem for this deck. And another great problem for this deck is decks like Malamar, because they're much more consistent than this deck and it's still a 1 prize card deck. This deck is, you know, for all intents and purposes meant to be playing more against VMAXs and V-Stars than they are other 1 prize card decks. And decks that can utilise 1 prize card decks, especially ones that can hit over 160, are a nightmare to deal with. So let's hope we can avoid them. And we have a very terrible hand. Unfortunately, for my opponent, that their V-Star attack only hits Pokemon V, I'm pretty certain. So they'll never be able to utilise that, which is, you know, a good thing for certain. And with my hand being what it is, I think I'm just going to go straight for Pokestop and then Mew. Because unfortunately there's no way around finding a Clara this turn anyway, unless I top deck it, which would be crackers, of course. But there's only so much you can hope for, realistically. So I'm very surprised my opponent didn't go for Raging Greninja there, but maybe he's prized it, unless he doesn't play it at all. And could be potentially, I don't know, playing Shadow Riders. And if he is playing Shadow Riders, that makes this Path to the Peak all the more great. It may, with the Ultra Ball, seem like he's playing a very Turbo-esque variant running Crobat Vs. Although those discards are rough. It seemed like an ordinary rod and an Ultra Ball. So it was an Ultra Ball and a Quick Ball, sorry. And does he have Crobat? Or is that prized as well? Can we see a decision from my opponents for making like... Okay, so does he have Crobat in hand? You must have Crobat in hand, or Raging Greninja in hand or something. Or maybe just research, because he's already discarded energy as well. I mean, you wouldn't do that unless you'd had access to Crowbar in hand, surely, because you need your you need your attachment on your Mewtwo to attack next turn. And what with having getting rid of Ordinary Rod as well. So he's got energy at the very least. What is that last card? Are you going to Crowbar? Do something, man. Yeah or nay? You're holding the suspense. It's not a world's match, mate. Calm down. No suspense needed around here. Oh, look, it's the age-old rivalry as well. We have Mew versus Mewtwo. And do you know what? The water in the discard actually isn't bad. Can this find me? I don't think my Tool Scrapper is going to be necessary in this deck. Tool Scrapper is only mainly for memory capsules and Big Charms in the Arc Intel matchup, so I'll quick ball that. Just to grab a Sobble. And we have a Capacious Bucket. That is actually really good if the other energy is in deck, because we might as well, considering this hand, just go for Keep Calling. We have Prize a Sobble, of course. Why wouldn't we? Seems good. And I might as well even replace that, because it's just going to give my opponent more consistency next turn, which I don't want, obviously. So let me just keep calling for these two. So opponent has an Upstagio in hand, and he only gets a cross switcher off it. Nice to see the Boss and the Roxanne gone. Does my opponent have a Quick Ball in hand? He has nothing. Right, so because he has nothing, and we have Inteleon in hand, do you know what? I may as well just use this. Not too fussed about that Magma Basin being gone, because we do have the other one in deck. So this hunts me out Rare Candy. Would I like to search for a chain? Yes. I don't know why I was thinking about that. So we have Rare Candy. We have Inteleon, which will search me 2 cards, and we will grab Irida and a Quick Ball. Quick Ball, Irida. Irida will grab me a not a Sobble apparently. Another Drizzile. And I don't think my opponent has any bench hitters, but it might just be worth getting this down now. I mean, we could even hit this. How much health does this have? Well, the thing's got 280, hasn't it? So we could actually just search the Choice Belt, because we've only got one of it for now anyway, so we're going to have to find prizes down the line. I don't think that's a good play actually, so we'll just grab another level ball. We're going to evolve this Drizzile, because I want to be able to keep my rare candies for later games, if possible. I'm just going to search another Irida into hand, just so I've got it. And from there, I'm just going to hold the hands and pray that my opponent doesn't money me. It may even be worth just getting rid of that Irida actually. It doesn't actually acquire me anything that I don't already have in my hands, so we'll just get the Radiant Charizard down, just establish it. And we will, does my opponent play Scoop Up Nets? We are not sure. So we're going to hit this, because he's never going to be attacking with this. This will be his primary Scoop Up target. So he does play Scoop Up Nets. Which I did wonder about, of course. Now, we do have double cross switcher, but I don't think there's any need to play them at the moment. He got rid of another another Pokemon. He's down his ordinary rods. This might end up being his only, because I'm pretty sure these decks tend to just play a 2-2 Mewtwo V-Star line. And he doesn't have energy in hand still. So now, all things considered, I think we go here, grab this, and what do we have in deck? So we thin that out, which is what I wanted. I also want to thin that Drizzile out as well, and then go for the Pokestop. Seeing that Magma Basin go is not good, but we have double right hand, so I'm not too fussed there, realistically. We'll grab this, because we also have Clara in this matchup, so I'm going to attach this here. And then next turn I'm going to be like Ordinary Rodding things back. I'm going to split the damage as well, because we now know that he plays Scoop Up Net, so that is a thing, obviously. So you and Heavy Ball, Fundamental Balloon Stone. So my opponent understands that he's going to be going the one prize card route map. However, it's not really going to search him much purpose. Now I'm about to take this knockout and then a subsequent knockout as well. Now we do know that my other Inteleon is prized, so it does mean that we do have to play the Ordinary Rod. So we go here. We're also going to use the I mean, we could always find it off the prizes, but I think yeah, because we're going to be using right hand anyway, may as well just go like this. So take some prizes. Choice Belt is good. Other Drizzile is good. We then Ordinary Rod, do both. Grab Sobble and Inteleon. Put back Fire and Water, and we keep the water in the discard to Raihan, which is good. We play Raihan onto here. We find the Inteleon. The Inteleon will search me 2 trainer cards, which will be Quick Ball, Level Ball. And now we just want to get some things out of the deck, so, you know, unnecessary thing. We'll grab this. How many Drizziles do I have left? None, so I wouldn't have priced. Oh yeah, because they're all in hand. Can't get any Drizzles into play this turn, unfortunately. And now we do not want to use Pokestop. That Pokestop is here to stay, but it's not an issue. And we do still have the other rare candy in deck, I'm pretty certain. Yep, so I will just Aqua Bullet and put the other 20 here. Never want to be putting the 20 on these because this is what he's going to be attacking with regardless. And because we have Scoop Up Net in hand, we do get to potentially double use Mew if we want to. We could just entirely wreck his setup as well. There is also that. We do also, if I haven't hit it off the Pokestop, which I didn't check, we do still have the Twin Energy in deck. Well, I actually need to check and see if that is prized as well, actually. If it's not, the moment my opponent goes down to 4 prizes here, we can ride onto the Charizard because I will have a firing discard if he kills this Inteleon. And I really don't see how my opponent can really keep up. Although this turn we do need to be using Raihan and attacking with another Inteleon with Aqua Bullet. Is he going to Scoop Up Net this yet? Or does he think he's safe? He pretty much is safe, to be honest. I mean, this is a 120, 150, so it doesn't actually have the knockout. And there's no energy left in his discard. Or is it 180 that? Because it hits for 120, yeah, that's 150. Well, this game's over. Like, this is just over, isn't it, really? If you're missing that knockout there. This puts both of these in range, which is what we need. It might be all for naught, but we'll see. So it's another turn where we didn't have to use, and we don't even have to use Rare Candy either, actually, come to think of it. So there is that as well. But we didn't have to use our Raihan. And we go down yet another prize. So now we will just search Rare Candy, and I don't know if I've got any Sables left in deck. I do not. We'll search this regardless. Do I have any in discard? No, I do not. So I prized like quite a lot actually. Well, prized 1 Sable, sorry, because obviously I've got this Inteleon in play, which I totally forgot about somehow. Yeah, so now we just Aqua Bullet and put the other damage here. He's going to have to Scoop Up Net both, because otherwise one is getting knocked out for certain. Oops. There's my other Inteleon off the prizes, so that's one less thing to look for. Don't know how many Scoop Up Nets my opponent's down. Yeah, my opponent was never winning that. The moment he missed that knockout, it was over. I mean, it might have been over the turn before, but here's what it is. Anyway, I'll be right back with the next one. So, between recording deck profile and practicing a little bit in regard to this video, this is, I don't know, probably the 9th time I've gone second. Crackers. And it's against Mew V. Now, this should not be a problem. I've even started with Paths to the Peak. Like, I really don't foresee this being a problem. I'm going to wait until my opponent puts the stadium down though before I play it. Like, that's just a no-brainer, really. If we had a quick ball would be outstanding. But we can go turn 2 Inteleon hit this and hit the Mu V max on the bench, the Mu V that's going to be on the bench. Or not, potentially. So my opponent has a terrible, terrible start. And we are literally just going to go grab Mu, attach here, after the peak, why not? Keep calling. If he takes knockout, so be it. I have right hand and evolution instants in hand to begin the parade. What? Tower of Darkness. And Flannery. Discard a special energy from one of your opponent's Pokemon on a stadium in play. No, mate. I just had to energy mix anyway. Right, well, time to go aggressive, I suppose, if there ever was a time. Hello, Inteleon, and hello, Rare Candy. It's my only one in deck as well, so I do this turn have to evolve up my other little brigade. He's playing a Horror Energy. What is going on there? What is this man? So search for 2 trainer cards. Yes. So I don't know why that took me so long. So grab this if both water energies are in there. They are indeed. And I think I'll also get a quick ball. Grab both of these. Attach one, do not forget. I will get rid of the other one for ShadyZard. And yeah, we do have to go here and just grab level ball and keep it in hands. I mean, actually, do we have to keep it in hands? We could play it. I can't remember if I put it over here at sample dice, so I don't think I did. So, yeah, I'll play it, fin it, bop it, all the rest of that good stuff. And then just grab Evolution Incense. The other right hand's in deck, which is good. Got the right hand in hand. So we're set up for next turn, assuming we do not get assuming we don't get Marnied. I don't know why we would. My opponent is playing goddamn Tower of Darkness and Flannery, of all things. Like, is this the build that did well? I don't think it is. And I don't think it will be, ever. Ooh, Oricario! Ooh, someone's hard. I can still right hand and cross switch that in. He's actually retreating into it. Is he going to Psychic Leap? Let's go here. Why not? Well, my opponent's hand was dead. Quick pull for another Genesect. And here comes the whole Genesect train. Is he seriously doing that just to Psychic Leap? No, he's using Max Miracle. Okay. So potentially the right course of action here is to try and find cross switches. We'll take that. Well, right hand here. for Inteleon, which can grab me cross switches. Yes. Do I have one in hand? I've got one in hand, so one cross switcher and magma basin, because I will need it next turn, I think, or will I need right hand next turn? No, I'll actually need, I need ordinary rod. And I don't think I'm ever going to be using the pinging Inteleon in this matchup, so it's kind of worth spreading out the energy a bit, potentially. Because this one's going to get knocked out anyway, and it's just all about setting up multiple attackers really. So we're going to go here. We're not going to use any of this because we're going to ordinary rod next turn, and we're just going to carry on the aqua bullet train basically. Because eventually, you know, my opponent will just do a lot of resources, especially with the way that he's been going. I mean, draw 2, lad. Wow. Well, eventually you won't be able to Psychic Leap for knockout anyway, which is the idea. I may potentially be able to take a knockout with Radiant Charizard this turn. Because Tool Jammer doesn't help. My opponent, that is. Thanks, Miracle. So we played another power tablet. That's fine. And we top deck the Twin Energy. Wow, my opponent's about to get wrecked. So what do we not want to put back? So we get Radiant. We need to see if this gets us a quick ball actually. Oh, yeah, you've been wrecked, son. Do not. No skill required, apparently. Get this. And just the one water. Will Evolution Intense for the Inteleon. The Inteleon will grab me Magma Basin and something. Yes, I will. Thank you. Magma Basin and right hand for the following turn, maybe? Yeah. Yeah, right hand for the following turn. So we now go to this. Get this. No, we have no samples left. We're just going to be aqua bulleting for a turn basically. So pop this, scoop this, and to get wrecked phase. More samples to work with, and my Magma Basin is brilliant. But the IP pass doesn't help at all. But yeah, so now we just hit the active with Inteleon, get another energy attachment potentially. We can right hand and find Clara, which might be the better thing to do. I'm not going to promote Mew, obviously, but we just want to like stick some bench damage on these things. I'm surprised he didn't stick a Meloetta down. I mean, maybe he thought it was a target of some sort, but it would have been skewing the prize trade, as it were. So, one fire means we need to promote this. We Raihan here. And find is there any other basics in the deck that I need out? Well, actually just grab this and thin the deck even more of the Snorlax, I'd say. Go bench this. Attach this here. Pop the Snorlax out. And then we just hit here and here. That's about all we need to do there. So let's think. Psychic Leap does 70, and we need to find out how many power tablets my opponent's used. He's used 2. So Psychic Leap does 70 plus 30 plus 30, which is 130. So you can have a Psychic Leap and take knockout. Which is basically what we want. Okay, that is fine. That's absolutely fine, actually. Is he cross? Is he attacking with that? Okay, right. Okay, so we get damage on both of these anyway. That's absolutely fine. Because 40 is more than enough with the choice spells. We don't need to Clara just yet, so we'll read her. For this. No, just get this out of the deck because it's useless, I would say. And yeah, quick ball. Well, I mean, the battle VIP pass is more useless. I mean, is it possible for my opponent to win? I don't think it is. I mean, you can Psychic Leap this. That was probably a bad idea to bench that Manaphy, actually. But I guess we'll see. My opponent's still on 2 prize cards either way. And with the damage on board, he would have to this turn attack with Meloetta. With 1 Fusion Strike energy down and probably a ton in his hand. So DTE, yeah. And I mean, he'd have to boss again, or even then. I can promote this, or this, doesn't really matter which. Retreat into Mew, find Scoop Up Net, of which I've played 1. Played 1 Scoop Up Net, so is it possible for my opponent to... Well, it's not possible to attack with Meloetta because he's attached here like a numpty. So... Either way, yeah, this is over. just a hell of a wait. I think my opponent just basically just keeps planning to Psychic Leap. So, just end up Psychic Leap. And we see a Techno Blast, so yeah, that's game. I don't think my opponent could literally be bothered with that matchup anymore. I think was just the case. I don't think anything matters from that grab actually. So we'll stick that down. Do both. Radiant Shard's all I need. Just grab both anyway. Water, just to double make sure that I can, you know, definitely get this, which I'm pretty sure is, yeah, the knockout. And this deck is like really good against me VMAX. My opponent really did everything in his power there to battle around this deck, but me VMAX versus one prize card decks is just not a good time for them in general. You know, 2 prizes and other VMAXs potentially, it's good. They have a good time against, but that's about it. And we'll be on for the next one. So now that I've shown a couple of decks with the build that I've done, there was a bit more up to date on like going against the meta and things like that. I just want to take a look at my other original build that I was running that had double Ordinary Rod and Pal Pad, and had removed one of the copies of Quick Ball, so there was only 3 Quick Ball in here this time. It still keeps my count of Capacious Bucket in that. Still have the Magma Basin, double Magma Basin and Path to the Peak. I can't remember if I cut Path to the Peak in this version actually for a Ziggs game, but this is what we're going to run with for this next game anyway. So same support accounts, same energy counts, same stadiums, and literally, yeah, it was just a cut of a Drizzile and a cut of a Quick Ball for a second Ordinary Rod and a second Pal Pad. It's just to increase the sustainability of the deck, you know, continue being able to continually search for things and such. So we'll resave that and we'll go straight into a game. And the idea behind doing this is just to put a bit of variety into the video, and you know, show 2 different deck lists or 2 builds of the same deck. They both have the relevance and both have their, you know, their specific things, that the reasons why they're good against certain metas, for example, and you know, having certain outs or certain weaknesses of the deck and such. So it's all about like finding what is your forte, but here we may be against. Okay, so I have no idea what's going on here. We've been pathed, so that's not a problem, because, you know. And there's rid of a Temple of Sinner, which is always good. Is this actually just going to be a cast form deck, man? So that does 150, this does 120, they just hit for different weaknesses. Is there a lightning one that might be able to hit Palkia? That might be useful. But my opponent seems to have benched a long, like, he's benched very far up, so I think here the best thing to do would be to go Sobble Battle VIP Pass if it's in deck. Oops, and it is. We'll go like this, I think. auto-engine deck, which is interesting. We could even go for the other Sobble. It's a reasonable thing to go for the other Sobble, if I'm honest. Just get this out of the deck. It helps us like get closer to a reader, basically. Not a reader, right hand, which is what we want. Because we want to be aqua bolting straight away, basically. We can't do it with this hand. In fact, this is a very bad hand. No quick balls, no level balls, no Drizzles, no evolution instances, no e-reader, no Raihan, and there's so much in the deck that's live, and yet I hit nothing, so fun times all round, it would appear. Opponent playing the Manaphy down. Will he be constantly using his own stadium all the time just to thin through? Like, there's no path to the peak gone. I'm sure this deck probably plays like 12 stadiums, so it's never going to be of any use for me to... How many stadiums is he through yet, actually? He's got 4 in discard. He's playing all the good ones though, all the ones that are like have some sort of effect against the opponent. Would like to have seen that come into play, but that's what it is. A Pucciana, or Pucciana, however you pronounce it. All the choice buttons down that do nothing against this deck. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What's that? Tracking boots. If you have 8 or more, so I mean, even if he hits one there, which he didn't, unlucky. This is not a good deck, or at least I would not say so. Now, I am totally unaware of I mean, this deck will play air balloons, right? We may as well switch her into this. Get some energy back, retreat again. I could even retreat into Mew if I wanted to. Quick ball away the Manaphy. The Mew is not in deck. Okay, so we'll just get this down anyway. Suffer yield. What's it called? Cold Cemetery. Just wait for my opponents to burn some cards, you know, get rid of some resources and whatnot. I don't know what he's lost so far. Other than stadiums, obviously. This is only going to hit 150 ever, and this has 160. Inteleon has 160. Does mean I'm going to have to waste a Magma Basin at some point. Although, I could just potentially put Path down. Might have been worth going to the Manaphy. I don't know if this deck plays energy though, and what energy it would play. It might just play a capture energy, and therefore cross-switching the Manaphy would have just been bad, basically, because they would have been able to retreat it. That's not what that's what I didn't want to happen for them to retreat. So this is only from hand, right? Yeah, so we path. We Sobble. I might just start actually putting pressure on with the Inteleon, this one. This might be like the correct course of action. Just start trying to obliterate that mana fee. Trying to be as conservative, like resource conservative as possible. Yeah, the 1-up Zigzagoon would have been useful back in this deck for obvious mana fee reasons, because we don't know if my opponent plays Scoop Up Net or not. So I just want to see a research from my opponent, just scuffing a bunch of resources. That's the sort of like the idea that I'm going for here. Collapse Stadium. Does my opponent play Cross Switcher? It's very doubtful. I would say this early in the game, what with having not used any of my ordinary rods yet, that I can afford to let that ShadyZard go. I think we'll go Drusile here. Yes. And we'll keep a rare candy in hand because they're harder to find than you. We'll just get a reader. We don't need to attack yet. We're just biding our time a little bit. That's all we need to do. Draw an additional card. I don't want to go for a knockout of any sort, like on the active. I'd just rather ping this thing away. Have I found the weakness to this deck just by bossing in air? Like, does he not play Air Balloon? Seriously? Now, we just get an energy search. If there were any in deck. Coolio. You know, get these all evolved basically. We've got an Aerodure in hand. There's nothing else we need to worry about. We'll attack when we can. I may have to play an ordinary rod early, which I don't want to have to do. So I'm just going to grab this. How? Oh yeah, because... Okay, so this is an odd situation. Usually we don't win against like one prize card decks, but this is literally just a simple case of biding time sort of thing. We can also Palpad and Clara and Narita. Palpad and Clara is good anyway. I would have rather Palpad to the right hand though, so I'm going to use nothing and just pass. There's other energies in the deck, and that's all that matters to me. It might have been worth thinning through the Inteleon. So there's the other energy. So let's go here. Here. And get an energy search. So we'll just evolution incense for this. Yes. And we'll be grabbing... I probably could afford to just go a bunch of scoop up nets here, actually, and just take a 2 prize card turn next turn. So I'm just going to grab this for now. I'll see what's on the discard. Don't need to use any of that yet. We can use an reader now to grab an evolution incense. Well, that, and I'll just say choice belt, get it out of the deck. It literally serves no purpose, like I say, in this match, so. And then we'll Aqua Bullet, putting 20 on this, because it's never going to be attacking with this, because this does not do enough damage to kill Inteleon, whereas this with a Zigzagoon Ping will KO my Inteleon. But we should be taking on 2 prize card turn next turn, assuming that we don't see a rescue carrier come down, which is probably there, yeah, of course. But that's fine, because if he puts Manaphy down, I'm sure we have the other rescue the cross switches in deck, sorry. So we can Inteleon for right hand cross switcher, right hand, grab me the other cross switcher. So that means that I need to promote this, basically. Down Tree Hill, what's that do? But if you and your opponent's Pokemon can't be healed. Yeah, cool. Wow. So we didn't have the Zigzagoon anyway. And we will just grab this. Hopefully we do have double cross switcher. We'll ping this. We will cross switcher here. We'll scoop up net. This. Put this back down. Put this into play here. Stick that. Attach here. Don't think there's any targets left, which there isn't. Now might be a good time. No, still not a good time to ordinate Rod just yet. He's barely used any of my resources at all, so I mean this doesn't get knocked out, but time to find out if he plays scoop up nets. 2 prize cards turn next turn essentially, although it's taken a swift while. This has been a long ass game for what this is, just because it's another single prize card deck. But hopefully, actually, this match will show you all my thought processes behind, why I'm making individual decisions, why I'm so conservative with my resources. There's just an amount of thought process in these decks, especially in 1 prize card decks, that you need to be able to think on your feet properly for them to function properly. So we're seeing Melanie, and there's a bunch of resources gone. That's a 3rd Path to the Peak gone, and what does he grab? A rescue stretcher and something. So we didn't think that through basically, because he's already benched that. So he's going to get mana fee, but like this game is like so over. It's actually like unreal. Gets mana fee. Woo! Cool plays. So now we can use our first of many that doing 20 to everything is like quite annoying actually. Right, so we'll go here, do both, get these. Still don't need Charizard for a very long time, so may as well just like continue the shady train, as it were. Get that old Sobble out. Forgot that thing was back in play. I mean, so you just run 3 of like basically every stadium. How many stadiums is he through? 2, 3, 6, 7, 9, 11, 12, 13. Like how many stadiums does this deck play? Maybe 16 just to double up. Right, so slap that. I didn't need to do that actually. We need to get that tool scrapper out of the deck because we know we're going to get Roxanne's, like, or I can feel it in the wind. Don't know if anyone else can. So we'll go here because it doesn't attach from hands. Get this Inteleon down. Of course I did. Bad, Sean. Bad. Very, very bad. We're just going to keep the right hand, maybe an ordinary rod. There's not a lot I need, really. Is it worth getting the Drizzle now? Probably not. Aqua Bullet onto just any of these fools. We've got 1 prize card to take. Like, it's not hard, is it? He says, misplaying all over the show. But we have the Ryan attachment for this to KO anything. So that's basically enough of this deck. With the length that game took, it was annoying. Potentially it could have been over a lot sooner. There was literally no point in benching Manaphy there. Like he achieved nothing from it. So because I've got 1 prize card left to take and I can always hit 120, so it is what it is. So right hand, grab anything, doesn't really matter. I mean, I could have attacked with Charizard this turn with Magma Basin and the Twin Energy. just showing, just to be a show off, you know what I mean? But it's not really necessary. My opponent, for whatever reason, mustn't have been playing Air Balloon, or if he was, he must have prized them both or something. We'll have to take a quick look at that deck list. Like, it needs to be done, doesn't it? Get through all this. How do we... Can we view my opponent's deck list? Let's have a look. Is he playing Air Balloon? He's playing 1 single copy of Scoop Up Net. Wow. And no Air Balloons. Right, so anyway, I'll be right back with the deck list. So this is a deck list that I ended on. Now, this version of the deck, the second version of the deck, as opposed to the deck list at the start of the video, does have a lot more sustainability against 1 prize card decks. Assuming they don't have many ways to recycle Manaphy, which a lot of these 1 prize card decks nowadays, like Loonton, Soul Rock, and as you might have seen with that weird cast form deck just then, they do play like multiple of the rescue carriers. So obviously they can recycle Manaphy over and over again, but the plan in that matchup basically is just to wreck hands into this as quick as possible. I just start digging that Manaphy constantly, and at some point you'll be taking 2 prize card turns in between, like digging Manaphy and you know, putting other damage on board with this with the Aqua bullet attack. So there should be no way of that matchup ever being a nuisance. And obviously, when you get past 3 prize cards, like Lunestone Soul Rock, for example, tends to hit somewhere around 150 most of the time, like every attack, unless they push a bit of resources. And that doesn't, it doesn't kill Raging Charizard, so it has that going for the deck as well. It doesn't even kill Inteleon, so these all have 160. This one doesn't have 150, but it is what it is. And if they target that down, they're not getting rid of your attacker anyway, assuming you've already got the Aqua Bullet up and online. So that's everything for the deck list. Hope you've all enjoyed watching. I urge everyone to give this deck a go. It is so much fun. A very, very good 1 prize card deck that's consistent, has outs to VMAXs and V-stars through the application of the Radiant Charizard. Like, I've never been more excited to play a Charizard in Standard since Leonzard came out, and Leonzard ends up being shocking anyway, so it was just one of those things, like, but this card is good, and if you have the opportunity to play it, especially IRL as well, it's so nice just to see in front of you. As you might have seen in my deck list, the other video, it's just so much fun to have in front of you. And it's easier to play on paper as well, like as in on IRL on your mat, because you have the constant ability to look through your discard pile properly. You can see everything in front of you, whereas you have to click different things on PCGO to have those menus come up, and then one menu would cover the other. Like, you can't look at your discard pile and your hands at the same time, like on PCGO, whereas you can do that in IRL. Yeah, I urge everyone to give this a go. And anyway, hope you all enjoyed watching. Give the deck a go. Love you loads, and peace out, guys.